Hey guys, it's slime time. Welcome back to my channel. Unless you're new, then a big welcome to you. This week we are back at it again with my slime tutorials. I feel like we haven't done these in forever, but today we're going to be testing out the solar, thermal, and glow-in-the-dark solar color dust. So without further ado, let's just get into this tutorial. So, like I said earlier, I got some solar, thermal, and glow-in-the-dark color dust. So, inside of these three little, I guess you could call them pouches, were 10 little tester packets of their designated dust. So, this one is solar dust, obviously, the next one is glow dust, and the third one is ultra thermal dust. Each of these three packets was $20 each, and the little UV ray pen was $10. It also came with this really nifty packet that just kind of gives you a description of each of the dusts. I also purchased a UV ray light flashlight off of Amazon just to demonstrate how the slimes change color from a different light source. So first up, I'm going to be starting with their solar color dust, hence their brand name, solar color dust. But anyway, all of these little powders came in these clear little plastic packets, except for 3 powders which were actually in regular plastic packets. So, as you can see, I have 10 white glue-based slime testers and 10 clear glue-based slime testers, about 2 ounces each, and I'm going to be pouring half of each of the little packets into their designated slime spots to see how the powders react with 2 different types of slime. As you will see through my solar color dust journey, some of the pigments will definitely turn out a lot more vibrant than others. For example, this magenta one is an absolutely beautiful pigment and I am obsessed with it, but this sky blue one is a little bit more subtle, but it's still super pretty. All of the powders kind of felt like cornstarch on your fingers and it mixed into the slime a lot like cornstarch. But I did notice that when you are mixing the powders into the slimes, unlike cornstarch, it doesn't thicken up the slimes. These powders actually melt the slimes a little bit. I'm guessing that's because of some of the chemicals they put into the powder to make it change color in the sun. With this powder in particular, I didn't see a huge difference between mixing it into clear glue-based slime or a white glue-based slime. It pretty much all looked the same in the end because it kind of turned the slime a little bit matte. All of these powders can be activated by the UV ray light pen that they sell on their website or a UV ray light flashlight, man, that is a tongue twister, or simply from direct natural sunlight. And as you can see right here, I am just kind of hovering the flashlight above all of the powders and they are changing almost instantly, some to different degrees, but they are all so beautiful. But right here, I am just mixing each of the powders into the slimes. As you can see, I was going for a super cinematic and aesthetic shot, and it was totally worth it, but I'm not gonna lie, it did take me like an hour to mix each of these powders individually into the slimes, so Obviously, if you were going to buy only 1 or 2 little packets off of their website, it wouldn't take you this long to mix all of the powders in. I was mixing them all individually by hand, so that's why it took me so long. So right here, I'm just going to basically be hovering my little flashlight above all of the slime so you can see the solar color change. And as you can see, most of them change so drastically and it is just so beautiful, but unfortunately, it doesn't really last for that long. Right here, I'm just setting up all the slimes to get ready for my super awesome thumbnail because thumbnails equal life. But I'm just going to let you guys be so you can go and enjoy this super sweet ASMR. So up next we have some ultra thermal dust. This powder is basically supposed to change by the heat of your hands because it changes at like 86 degrees, I believe, or something like that. So once again, we are just going to have our 10 testers of each of our clear and white glue based slimes and then pour half of the little packets into each. Not gonna lie, some of the powders were a little bit challenging to get to change colors. Like this green to blue one was pretty easy for me to change color, but this black to turquoise one was a little bit tricky, not gonna lie. I would typically blame this on my naturally cold hands, but it doesn't really make sense that some of the different powders would react differently to my same temperatured hands. So this might have been the effect that they were going for, or they might have just not put the same amount of color changing pigment in some of the powders than others. But let me just tell you, the one powder that did react the way I thought it would was this orange to yellow pigment. Look at how good it works with literally just pressing my thumb against it for 1 second. It already changes color super easily. So that's kind of how I was expecting the rest of the powders to react, not gonna lie, but they didn't, so Not too sure about that. These powders feel a lot like the last powders, so basically like cornstarch, but they do not melt the slimes when you mix them in. So these powders pretty much have the same exact effect as the Solar Color Dust powders had on the slime. So unfortunately, despite these being absolutely gorgeous colors, after I mixed them into the slime, I could not get them to change color. And I even tried a hairdryer all the way on the highest setting. And I even couldn't get that awesome orange to yellow pigment to change color. So I'm guessing there must have been a chemical inside of the slime that I made or in the powders that just kind of reacted together and deactivated the thermal dust effect, which is a little bit disappointing, not gonna lie, because I did pay a lot of money for them to react just like acrylic paint would if you were to mix it into slime. But an experiment's an experiment, and I have officially debunked this one. So as you can see right here, I'm furiously trying to change the color of the slime with my hairdryer, and there is absolutely no change in the slime. But yes, I did try my hairdryer setting out on the hot and cool setting, and yes, these temperatures were above and below 86 degrees Fahrenheit, so I wasn't really sure why the slimes didn't change color, but I'm guessing that's because of a chemical reaction that occurred, which kind of prevented that. But anyway, enjoy this ASMR. Okay, and finally, last but definitely not least, we have the glow dust. So each of these powders came in their own individual little clear plastic packets, and all of the glow-in-the-dark effects can be activated by a regular light, UV ray light, or just the natural sun. I definitely say the sun and the UV ray light, which are pretty much the same thing, but the sun is obviously more powerful, are the most effective next to the lamp. The lamp is still pretty effective, but it isn't as vibrant when you shine it under the lamp compared to a UV ray light. So they did feel a little bit different compared to the last two powders. These ones felt a little bit grainy, and when you mix them into the slime, they did turn the slime a little bit thick and stiff. So I definitely would not recommend adding this into a mega thick slime. So the thing that definitely impressed me the most about these pigments is how long they last when they glow in the dark. Obviously, some of them glow up to different degrees, so some of them are more vibrant than others when you turn the lights out, but right here I am just charging them all up with my UV ray light, and we are about to get our party on right about now. Like, how can you not be impressed by these pigments? They are just so gorgeous. So right here, I'm just doing the same exact thing that I did with the last two packets of slime. I'm just going to be mixing them in one by one with my super aesthetic shots. I just wanted to let you know what the recipe was if any of you were wondering for my two base slimes. For my clear glue base slime, pretty much just add in clear Elmer's school glue and then slowly add in your activator, which is 1 teaspoon of borax dissolved in a cup of hot water. And yes, I use a pretty strong activator for clear glue base slimes, and that's pretty much how I get my thick slime textures. Whew. And then pretty much keep on adding in your activator until you get your desired texture, and just remember when the slime does clear up in 7 days, it will be a little bit thinner than when you activate it, so if you want to activate it up thick, then go for that, girl. Or boy, you do you. But anyway, it is the same exact process for my white glue base slimes. You just use white Elmer's school glue, and then add in the same exact borax mixture until you reach your desired texture. And are you ready? Like, wabam! I literally can't with how good this slime looks in the dark. It is so majestic and so vibrant. So make sure to comment down below which set of pigments were your favorite. Obviously, mine was the glow dust. So if you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up and hit that big red subscribe button down below and the little post notification bell right next to it to get notified every time I post a new video. By doing this, you'll become a member of the hashtag notification squad and one of my timers. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this slime tutorial, and I'll be sure to see you all next week. And enjoy this ASMR. Bye!